Hello guys, what is happening, and welcome to this live stream. So I got the honor of having with me one of my friends, which is Scott Walters. We're going to be discussing everything real estate. If you have any questions or comments, I'll try and be reading through them as we go here so we can slide in a couple of your questions. Make sure to check out Scott's channel on the links below. I know you probably all love and watch Scott's channel as well. So let me bring in Scott. Scott, how you doing?
Good to see you, Luke. Thanks for having me on the show, and welcome to everybody watching today.
Yeah, welcome everyone. So thanks for coming back. We always love doing these things. I love it because we're just like friends, and you know, it's like having a conversation type thing, whereas most of the stuff right now that we see is all framed and everything and fabricated. So it's good to have some true stories. So basically, a lot has changed since we last spoke. Like now, US housing prices seem to be falling as well. So that is a big change. And what changes are you kind of seeing on your front over in Santa Barbara and California?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is definitely changing. It's really, like you said, it's nice to do a one-on-one, one of these, basically one of these interviews, because like you said, it's mainly a lot of reporting on the channels. And then I always talk about how a lot of over-manufactured content so it's nice to be kind of raw and unedited and let the viewers kind of see us, who we really are, without scripted or some kind of topic. But to answer your question, the real estate market has shifted. It's flipped. Like I always talk about, you can't identify the bottom of a real estate crash, but you can identify the top of a real estate bubble. And I think now we're past the point, is this a bubble or not? When I first started reporting, when this whole, housing boom exploded, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You might want to be careful in this one. This is an artificially created housing bubble. And I'd hear people say, no, Scott, this time is different. Back in 2008, it was due to, loose lending and blah, blah, blah. And the only thing I would say is, you're right, it is different. This one's worse. That's the difference. And it was artificially produced. So one of the things in real estate you'll hear a lot is real estate is local. All markets will behave a little differently. In some of the areas that we saw get way too red hot, Phoenix, Vegas, Boise, Utah, you just name it. There are so many areas now, but the majority, over 2/3 of all properties on the market currently here in America are experiencing price reductions, and they're all doing what I call chasing the market. They had some agent come over to the house, do the comps, say this is your value range. They let the owner set the price. I want to come on at the top of my value range. My neighbors have sold for over asking, whatever the case may be. Okay, sir, ma'am, we'll put you on there. And then they're going through price reductions. And in real estate, for me personally, I always say, what's the kiss of death if you come to market with your house? Showing price reductions. You have to price right. So here in Santa Barbara, this is the playground for the rich and famous. We have Oprah, Travolta, the Royals. Everybody lives here. It's one of the most euphoric places in the world to work. I'm sitting on multi-million-dollar listings right now. It is insanity. And the realities are what I'm seeing currently is Santa Barbara experiencing a lot of price reductions, a lot of inventory flooding to market. Now, I always say Santa Barbara and areas like this that have a lot of wealth might be recession insulated, meaning they're not going to get hit as fast or as hard, but we're not necessarily recession proof. We will get hit too. So what I'm seeing, Luke, is, and what I anticipate is we're going to see a lot of markets go into a complete free fall here. We're already seeing it with the amount of price reductions in these areas that got way overbuilt with new construction, which we're going to talk about shortly. And, so what we're going to see is those are the dominoes to fall first. But currently, even in a place as desirable as this Southern California beach town that I'm in, full of the rich and famous, we're going through price reductions here, Luke.
And that's something that a lot of people kind of don't take into account, because they always tend to think that, they try and justify themselves by saying, oh, if I go here, like I've seen that a lot happen in Canada, and I'm sure it's happening all over the US too, where people are going, well, if I move here, like the real estate market is a little cheaper or whatever, and they just think because of that they're going to be somewhat insulated. But like you say, you're in one of these high-end markets, and even there, like, you're seeing price reductions, and that is something of note, I think.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you nailed it, because there is a lot of areas in the U.S. right now. Like I said, about 2/3 of America are going through price reductions. The other third currently, at the moment, is, they didn't get super euphoric the way other markets did. So they're kind of more stabilized, right? I just talked to another agent today in Connecticut that I'm helping one of my subscribers look for properties there. And so I got one of my agents in Connecticut, and we were talking a little bit. And she's like, yeah, we're still like kind of have a shortage of inventory. There's not a lot out there at the moment. So every market behaves differently. For me personally, this is the challenge. There's so many challenges, but then, one of the challenges is this isn't just a U.S. housing bubble. This is a global housing bubble. Every big economy in the world, Canada, Australia, Europe, you name it, everybody's real estate got too euphoric, and they're all experiencing price reductions and a potential crash. This could be a global crash that we're up against. So it becomes now the percentage of likelihood. What percentage of likelihood do you put on this? For me personally, we're paying in close to 100%, because, like I said, when you're in a global housing bubble with every big economy now fractured and having big issues, that's a big red flag. So what it's going to take for the other third of America currently that is relatively stable at the moment, they will be able to handle this correction phase, the first phase of the real estate crash. They would weather it if we stop it at a correction. But the data shows us that we're already in a recession, the very front end of a recession. So if we get into an official recession, meaning the layoffs start to come later on this year, which I anticipate will probably be the case, then we get into a recessionary level of a real estate downturn. Right? Like I said, right now we're in a correctionary level, the front end. If we get into a recessionary level, kind of like we had back in 2008, then we're going to see those fairly stable markets start to get hit too. The challenge with this one, because this was a crisis-driven, overstimulated market, I'm anticipating, and I hate to say this, I believe we're at risk of a depressionary level of a real estate downturn, and then that's when no one is safe in this one. I believe even if you were stable through all this, if we hit a full-blown, haven't seen before in 100 years, depression, you're getting hit too. Maybe not as hard, but we can't rule anything out. This is a new game that we're playing now for everybody in real estate, in the economy. Everybody walking the face of the earth right now, this would be the first time they've ever lived through a depressionary level. This will be a whole new ball game, Luke.
Yeah, you're totally right, and I totally agree with you there, because when you really think of what's happened previously, like if you go all the way back to the 1970s, and that was a long time ago, like 50 years ago. So not many people remember that or go back there. And to be honest, like what happened in the 70s in some markets across the world is kind of insane. You saw 50% price cuts in the real estate market. But the thing is, Scott, which like really concerns me is like back then, think about the level of debt that we had. Think about people's mindset. Like they actually bought their car. They went to the dealership and they bought it. Everybody finances their car right now. And we're seeing that domino fall. And then we've got, the layoffs have started at the banks. All the 5 major banks in the US are laying people off, and it's soon going to be in other countries too. And I think that is quite scary, to be honest.
Well, you're right. It's funny. I just had a video, I think my most recent one, where I got an email from a subscriber, and I have a lot of people in the industry that subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you do too. This guy, he remained anonymous because, hey, Scott, I work on Wall Street and we are about to sell off all our real estate holdings. People don't understand how significant what's going on right now really is. And, that's just the realities of what's going on here. What I personally see is this was basically, and I was just talking to another agent today in Sacramento. And I was, when the lockdowns hit us, I was out, I'm a real estate agent doing my thing, living life like most of us. And all of a sudden I get some news that there's some lockdowns, something going on. And then all of us real estate agents were like, we're done. It's over for us. And then it was like we hit the lottery. We're like, what? We're essential workers? Like we're essential? Go out and sell houses. We've dropped interest rates. Have a great time. And so then all these agents normalized. And I just had this moment of clarity. I was like, this is a real estate bubble. Turned on my camera. Hey, everybody, you might want to be careful in these times. This is an artificially created housing bubble, and I don't think it's going to sustain itself. And people were just the casino climate. Because of free money effect, right?
Yeah.
You see, when you have overnight appreciation in your real estate, what's it do? It makes you feel rich. When your real estate outperforms your wages at your day job, what's it do? It makes you feel rich. So what do? You go finance that new car. You go finance that new RV. You go take the vacation. You eat out every night. You order Grubhub. It changed everything. And now we're having the blowback. The rug pull has occurred. Right now we have runaway inflation and a risen interest rate environment. And the federal government's target is to get inflation back down to 2%. Historically, the only way that you could get inflation tamed is to raise the cost to borrow money to the rate of inflation. We're not even halfway there, my friends. And look at the pain that's already unfolding in these markets. This one's got my full undivided attention, my friend. Full undivided.
Yeah, that was great. And, the one thing you mentioned there, it just is the 90% mindset. And like I said, we dive into a bit of psychology on this. But it's like you say, it's the wealth effect. Everybody feels rich. It's all great. But what were people like Warren Buffett doing last year? They were saving money. These people, these billionaires who are part of the 10% mindset, they were not spend like everybody else. They were saving money. And I got to applaud you for that, because you mentioned that like several times over the course of past year on your channel about what Warren Buffett was doing. And you probably got a load of blowback from people saying, oh, that's, Warren Buffett's an old guy. He's no good. But now he's not looking like some old timer. The thing is, he may be old, but that's good in my opinion, because he has that life experience of all these different cycles and he can see it coming.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that guy, like you said, so be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy. That's his coined phrase. When he saw all the greed take over these markets, what that means is I don't think he means to be greedy. It's just like you said, he's driving his point home by saying that. Be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy. When he saw all that greed take over these markets, plow into these markets, he got out, he got on the sidelines, he got heavier in cash than he's ever been in his life. And so that tells us a lot. No, your cash is trash. If you don't pour it into the stock and crypto markets, you're an idiot. I've made so much money. And now we're seeing what's happening. It's teetering on a razor's edge, these markets. So, there's a lot of insider trading going on with these heavy hitter billionaires. They know what's going on long before it's coming. Today, because of our digital diet and how connected we are, there's a lot more awareness being raised in this bubble versus the last bubble. In the last bubble, we weren't all on our cell phones walking around like this, just staring into our phones 24/7 the way we are on this one. So, I mean, the realities are is contagion is going to sweep these markets. Even mainstream media now is competing with YouTube. And so they're trying to use shock value and clickbait, and they're on YouTube now too, trying to compete with us. I mean, that's just the realities of what's going on. And like you said, I'm a trained salesman, trained in the psychology of sales, the psychology of people. And this will come down to psychology once again. We're going to see reverse FOMO take over the markets, and then people try to capitalize on the reverse FOMO by selling you, click here for a list of foreclosures in your area, click here and be a subscription-based member of foreclosures in your area. You don't need that. You just need to follow channels like these. I'm going to navigate everybody how to get into foreclosures moving forward, because the percentage of likelihood now that we're going to see that unleashed in a big way, because we paralyzed the foreclosure market by banning foreclosures the first time in history. Banks are unable to pursue foreclosures on non-paying homeowners. And now as the reverse course has happened, this rug pull has happened, there's a lot of people getting behind on their payments, and they will, in fact, those dominoes will start to fall. I have a timeline and a sequence of events that I anticipate how that's going to play out. Maybe in the show I can share a little bit of that.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned about the foreclosures, because I think this will be a thing in every country. The US has good data on this, Canada not so much, some of the other countries not so much as well. But there's 700,000 foreclosures that are going to potentially come to the market over the next year. That could increase the inventory in the housing market in the US. I read up to 50% nationwide, which is just unbelievable. So what do you think?
Here's the scary part. So that's just the inventory that has a high percentage of likelihood of being produced from the foreclosures. What about all the builders that were stuck in production due to supply chain issues, and now the cost to construct, they will not be able to sell these houses to break even. They're going to be liquidating, finally finishing these homes, and they're going to add to the inventory numbers. And then the contagion, the amount of people, now just regular everyday folks, that's what we got. That's what we're dealing with now, coming to market. Then the people that bought in the height of the crisis, in the biggest bubble ever recorded, all-time never recorded before highs, but they didn't just go to appraised values above and beyond appraised values. They're upside down. They're going to lose their jobs, and they're going to start adding more inventory to this one. I already reported it's playing out exactly like I said. By this summer, we're going to see inventory explode. It did that. It did exactly what I'm talking about. The next thing, my friend, I got to come up for air. The next thing here is by the end of this year, by winter time, my anticipation is we are now in an official recession announced by the federal government.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that will happen. If you look at all the layoffs that have happened over the past couple of months, it's just kind of insane. Like, they're stacking up and piling up, and the unemployment rate is ticking up both in Canada and the US now. Jobless claims is ticking up in both countries. So it looks to play out that way. And, the thing is, these interest rate hikes as well, they have a lagging effect. Like, they hike once, and some say it takes 7 to 8 months for that hike to actually be felt in the economy. So it's not going to get better from here on out. It's just going to get worse.
No, agreed. I always say it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. The economy is like the engine of your car. If you overheat the engine of your car, if you pour nitroglycerin into the gas tank, it's going to run really good for a little while, and then it's going to blow. That's really what we did with the economy. All the economies, our global economy, is we poured nitroglycerin into it with the free money. It started to redline, was doing very nicely, and now it's seizing up. And the only way it's either a slow motion crash if we just let this thing ride out because inflation will squash middle America.
Yeah.
Or it's a race to the bottom if we raise interest rates too fast and spook the financial markets and there's a race for the exits. But either way, this one equalizes. Fast, slow, it doesn't matter. We're one news event away from a race to the bottom. We're one hefty interest rate hike away from a race to the bottom. Even if we don't get it, we are on a slow motion crash at the moment. Now it just becomes how far down will it go? Every market will behave differently in terms of its real estate. But like you said, if we hit a depressionary level of a downturn, no one's safe in this one. And again, we really just want to raise awareness, ring the bell, sound the alarm. Because if you've heard somebody talk about this in a way that makes just a little bit of sense, it's going to be less blindsiding to you if and when it hits. Listen, some people, I don't regret having gone through the last financial crisis and drank the Kool-Aid, but I don't want to repeat it again, because that would be the definition of insanity if I went and did it over expecting a different result. And that's what a lot of Americans did. No fault to their own. It was the wealth effect created by stimulus programs and stimulus money. Now they're slowly starting to wake up. So as soon as we can admit there's a problem, we can move away from the problem, practice acceptance, accept the situation, and start to move forward. That's our goal, to understand, to acknowledge the elephant in the room, that this is a very high likelihood of percentage we're going to see this correction play out. Recession or depression, that becomes where, what the $1 million question, where this one goes. Many top economists are predicting depressionary levels of a downturn. And as much as I hate to say it, because I benefit from the real estate euphoria continuing, I tend to agree with them based on the fact that our balance sheet here in America is now unbalanceable. It's mathematically impossible. We'll be a debtor nation forever based on the amount of money that flooded this economy, and the cracks now are getting mighty, mighty glaring, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, everyone will be affected because, like you say, when the markets inevitably do their thing and crash properly, that is going to affect so many people on the higher income scale. So then you're going to have all these markets like the one you're in cracking even more because those people are now feeling it even more. Rich people, it's actually interesting. They hold less of their wealth in real estate than like average Joe and Jane people who hold the majority of their wealth in real estate. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting what you said, because you always say like housing is the economy. And I'm totally with you on that, because with that being said, like 90% of people, most of their wealth is in real estate. So as soon as that real estate starts crashing in price, guess what? They don't want to spend, they tap out of the economy, and it makes this vicious circle of everything just getting worse. And the reason why I titled this video Catching a Falling Knife is because like you don't want to be caught in that, like thinking, oh, I'm just going to buy right now because prices have come down a little bit and I've still got tons of FOMO. So I'm just going to do that right now and pull the trigger, because then if prices go down another 30% and you're underwater that much, it's game over.
Well, you're absolutely right, Luke. And, if it's okay, and final thoughts, I'm going to talk about catching a falling knife because I got to run to my next appointment. But what I want to do, Luke, is this is, in fact, you just hit the nail on the head. What's happening now is there's a softening occurring. We're seeing price reductions. A lot of people have been in the market and they're seeing these price reductions occur. And so they're going back into these markets. Agents are telling them, hey, we're having some softening. If you've been on a side, and this might be a good time to buy. Mainstream media is going to start peddling that same narrative. If you've been on the sidelines, it's now a buyer's market, right? But This is what happened in the last downturn. This is about where I bought my house. It came down almost 25% in value when I grabbed it. It was and I thought I did pretty well. It had another almost 25% coming. And then we got into the throes of the recession, where then the job layoffs came and the real recession came. See, it's a lagging indicator. Recessions don't play out like the stock market. It lags. What I anticipate in this one is basically my percentage of likelihood. This is just me temperature checking this one. Is I believe by the barring, if we just keep going where the direction we're going now, heat mapping and temperature checking the things in front of us currently, by the end of this year, we're going to be in a recession. The job numbers are going to worsen. It'll be an official recession. Then, like you said, with the psychology of people, the psychology of sales, even if you have money, you'll start to recess because the buzzword of the day will be recession. Mm-hmm. And rich people didn't get rich by living beyond their means. They got rich by living under their means. And see, the narrative, what the mainstream media and big establishment wants us to do is bury us in debt, so we're debt slaves forever. That's what all the marketing is geared to do to the masses. So it's a very small percentage of people that can wrap their head around that's the realities of what's going on now. By this time, next year, 2023, summertime, unless a miracle happens, we will in fact be talking about the foreclosure crisis. And that's when we're going to reevaluate what's going on with us personally and financially and see if we can muster the guts to enter these markets when everybody else is fleeing these markets. It's going to be very hard to do. That's why I like to minimize risk. Always get a partner or just don't spend all your money. Go put your pinky toe, grab a property that even if it goes sideways, you're still okay. In my opinion, it's way too early, but this is what happened in the last downturn. People are drinking the Kool-Aid again. And there's a lot of people stuck in these markets. Once you make up your mind to buy as a sales guy, let me tell you, I know once you make up your mind to buy, the sky could be falling. I can sell you a house. You're going to buy. It's just the way it is. And I'm not going to talk everybody out of this, but I'm going to warn as many people. I will earn your business later. I will put you on the sidelines. I will put your needs before my own if you want to wait this one out. If not, let's go buy some houses. That's best advice I can give.
Yeah, you couldn't have put that any more perfectly, to be fair, Scott, and patience is really going to be what is needed here. People are going to have to be patient. And I know in 2022, that is what nobody has, but that means it's going to be more opportunities for those that do have the patience, because at the end of the day, people have a 15-second attention span because of things like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So we are where we are, but that means there's more opportunities coming for everyone out there. So
good job, Luke. You're right. Understanding the waters we're swimming in. This is a very digital age with information very quick. Our attention spans are shrinking, but admitting that is half the battle. We want to be level-headed realists. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, stay somewhere in the middle, centered and surrounded with like-minded people. So thank you for being part of my group of like-minded people, Luke. I very much do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your thoughts again. We always appreciate having you on here, and we'll continue to come back.
Awesome. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Please give the video a like, subscribe to Luke's channel, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you guys, and we'll see you guys all on the next video.
Yeah, thank you.